Hey there, sometimes people can be connected through really strange, seemingly random ways, and I'll demonstrate that. I do something kind of strange. I use playing cards kind of like bookmarks, which I know is a little bit strange, but this is what I do every morning. This is what I do. I'll take a deck of cards, and I'll just deal a few down until I feel like I want to stop. So just for example, would you say stop whenever you want? And let's just say they say to stop here. And I'll just take a look at that card, go to where that card is in the book, and then I'll write down a word that kind of stands out to me on that page. So, okay. So I'll write down a word that stands out to me on that page. And then I'll crumple that note up and I'll keep it inside of my pocket the whole day. And what I'll do is I'm going to look for ways that word connects me to other people. Maybe someone else says it, or maybe I read that word in a book or something like that. It's kind of strange, but you'd be surprised at the weird connections that you can make with just writing a word down like that. So I want you to try. I want you to give it a try. So I'll hand you the deck, and you just deal down cards slowly, just kind of listening to each card. And whenever you feel like a card wants you to stop at it, you stop. And so let's say they stop here. So you know what? Why don't you do that once more? Do it once more. So same thing. Just deal a few cards down until you want to stop. And let's just say they stop here. That's great. And you know what? Why don't you do it once more? Once more. So here. And just deal cards down until you want to stop. Let's say they stop here. Did you want to stop here or here? Say they said here. Okay. And then I would ask them to choose one of those cards just to keep. Just one of those cards. Let's just say they choose this card to keep. So we'll get rid of these cards, and they're just going to keep just that one card. And now while my head is turned, I want you to look at that identity of that card, and you'll turn to that book, the book in the page where that card is. And so they turn, and so whatever page that card is facing, look for the biggest word in the first line. So if there's a title or like a header, don't worry about the header, but the first line, the biggest word, and that biggest word in this case, I don't know if you can see it, is entertainment. Entertainment. Now I ask them to write that word down. Entertainment. So just to recap, you dealt cards out yourself. You stopped at 3 different cards, and you chose only one of those cards to keep, which landed you at the 5 of Hearts, and the page word that corresponded to 5 of Hearts. The biggest word in that line was entertainment. Remember how earlier I was talking about how connections can be made between people in really weird, strange ways. People can be connected in really strange, weird ways. I wrote down a word earlier too. I dealt a card out to myself, found a card, wrote a word that kind of stood out to me. And that word was entertainment. This is a book test that I've put together myself. I wouldn't say that this is a completely original method and handling and premise, but I've kind of put all the pieces together myself. The main engine behind this trick is a force. Really, you could force a card in any way you wanted to. The way I'm choosing to do it is with a 50-50 force deck. A 50-50 force deck is probably one of the best kept secrets in Magic because the bottom half is all mixed cards, but the top half are all the same cards. I think for book tests that involve forces, you really need to have a convincing way for the audience to think that they weren't forced. So using a 50-50 deck in the manner that I've done is the key for making this method and this handling seem completely fair. So in the book, I have actually put all 52 cards in order in this book. And whatever my force card is, I'm going to look for the biggest word in the first line of the page facing the card. So in this case, that word is entertainment. Now it's important to note that this book has a header at the top, and it has 2 sentences in the first line. So if you don't have a header, or you have one sentence in the first line, you could say the first sentence on that page, what's the biggest word? And I also say whatever page that card is facing, to make it seem like it's a little bit more random about what page is selected. So in my case, I say whatever page that card is facing, in the first line, what's the biggest word? If there's a header, ignore the header, the biggest word in the first line. So now that the preparation is handled, when the trick starts, I'm explaining about how people are connected through kind of strange, random ways, which is important because one, we're going to be doing some strange things, and two, we're going to be doing some seemingly random things. So I'm just trying to prime the spectators for that kind of strange, random kind of actions going on. Demonstrate that. I show them that I do something kind of strange. I have playing cards as bookmarks, and that at the start of each day, I'll deal cards down until a card kind of wants me to stop at it, and I let them tell me to stop at a card just so they think I'm not forcing myself a card. But really, whatever card they stop at doesn't matter because they're probably going to stop me at a 5 of hearts. So what I do is I peek the card without showing them what it is, and I'm going to pretend that that card is not my force card. I'm going to go through the book, pretend to find my card, and pretend to look for a word that jumps out at me. Close the book, and I'm going to write down entertainment. So I write down entertainment. And then I crumple that note up and place it in the corner where I can't mess with it at all. From there I say I want you to give it a shot. You take the deck, and at this point they've already seen the deck as normal, and I ask them to deal cards down until they want to stop. Now I do say deal cards down slowly so they don't, go through all the 26 top cards. But I say deal cards very slowly and kind of listen to each card until a card tells you to stop at it, or something to that effect. And so they're dealing cards down until they feel like they want to stop, and so let's say they stop here. Now it'd be one thing if they stop there, but I really want them to give the illusion of free choice, so I make them do this 3 times, where they deal cards down until they want to stop. 3 separate times. And then I give them an even stronger illusion of free choice by letting them select any one of these cards. So let's say they select this one, and we place all these cards here. They've had a free choice in dealing cards, free choice in choosing cards, but they haven't had a free choice in actually the identity of the card they chose. But we've given them the illusion of free choice. And at this point, I turn my head and give them the instructions step by step. So I say, just peek the identity of that card, take the book, scroll through the book, and the cards are in order: clubs, spades, heart, diamonds. Find your card, find the page with your card in it, and then I say those words very carefully. So whatever page the card is facing, in the first line, what's the biggest word in that first line? If there's a header, ignore the header, the biggest word in the first line. And so they will write down the force word, in this case, entertainment. And at this point, it's a good idea to recap everything that's happened. You would say you held the card yourself, you stopped at 3 different cards, and you chose one of those cards to keep. You peeked at that card and went to the page in the book, wrote down a word corresponding to that page, all seemingly at random. And you're basically making kind of a mental snapshot for them of what happened. You remind them that we were talking about how words can connect us through really strange, seemingly random ways. And from here, you just open your note to reveal that you also wrote down entertainment. I hope you enjoyed the performance and tutorial for this effect. I'd encourage you to practice your script and practice your handling for the props so that the trick goes very smoothly and that no one suspects that you are forcing a card or forcing a word on them at all. Please keep this a secret. Do not let anyone know about this. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.